set.
You encouraged coming out of New York, or what's your analysis?
I mean, we played well in stretches. We played poor in stretches. So I think just finding the ability to be consistent is what we're searching for, both individually and then collectively. But you know, we don't take away any excitement in losing games.
Chris, when it comes to consistency, individually and then collectively, do you need one before the other? Like, do you need individuals to be consistent before the collective can?
That's a great question. I think, you know, it's all intertwined. You know, I think as a coach, you want to be able to count on knowing what a player is going to bring to the table every night, and not, you know, having these highs and lows that your teammates aren't prepared for. That you know, in order for us to win, you know, can't happen. You know, you have to be the same guy, you know, every single night on the floor. Your effort, your communication, and quite honestly, your effectiveness. And you know, we still have to get to the point where we value the little things that it takes to win games. And to me, that was probably the most glaring thing that came out of New York is you know, down the stretch, you know, those things weren't valued enough for us to close out games and win games and make it, you know, on the first night a one-possession game with a minute left to give ourselves a chance to win, and then being able to close out the game against Marquette. We didn't take care of those things, and you know, it's not a matter of missing a shot. It's not a matter of you know, the big picture things. It's a matter of an angle of a screen, remembering a play, you know, going to the left side versus going to the right side. And when you value those things and you concentrate and you get those things done, the big things will happen.
Did Corey show you something in New York that maybe he hasn't shown you in practice? I mean, did he do anything to kind of catch your eye?
Coy played great for the most part. You know, he had a couple errors in the second half of the Marquette game, but I thought Okoye was a pleasant surprise for our team. It's tough for him physically to do it day in, day out, because he's had so many surgeries, and it's just it's not in a way fair to ask him to get up and down the floor, you know, like Malik Williams can or Steven Enoch. But if we can manage his practice minutes and how we use him in practice, and still have him prepared for the game, then I think you saw in New York what he can be for our team at times, because he has a poise about him that right now the other two need to gain.
Ideally, how would you like to use him, and how many minutes? Or just vary, or?
It varies. I think, you know, how effective you are determines, you know, how long we keep you out there. And again, I think we're battling that with each and every guy. It's just a consistency, you know, and so that's why you see some guys' minutes one game a little bit higher, and then all of a sudden it dips down. It's because they're not as effective. And got to know as a coach what you can count on, you know, game in, game out, and we're learning that.
On the Jordan 3, do you get any kind of explanation from the officials? What could have gone different there?
Had we known, we could have reviewed it before the play started, after the you know, after the next timeout that was called, you know, but we didn't, so we couldn't.
What had gone into his turnovers, or what did go into his turnovers in the one game, 7 or 8 turnovers? More?
Jordan,
yeah.
You know, it's what I've talked about all preseason with Jordan. He's very talented, but you know, he has to hone in on the little things that it takes to be an effective offensive player. It's not just a matter of making shots. You know, and Jordan has never, to this point, shown that you know, he values possessions, and he's getting better at that. You know, he did a much better job against Marquette. But I've used the word casual with him in the past, and I think everybody wants to point to his defense, but I think that was a full display of when he's casual. You know, when he opts to go in on a 1-on-3. I mean, I want him to be confident, but there's a difference between confidence and recklessness. And, you know, like all young players, you know, he has to learn through some tough experiences.
Chris, do you like the progress that he's making, you know, in that department, or is it, and this may be a bad term, is it a little bit of a wrestling match for you to get him to believe?
No, I think he's coachable. Here's the thing, whether he wants to believe or not, reality is he turned the ball over that many times. So, like, I don't think you need a coach to point to the stat sheet. And, you know, he wants to be a really good player. I do see improvement. You know, however, we need that improvement to be very rapid because he's one of our best players. And he has to play like it each and every night. And, you know, again, I mean, I texted him last night and I said, hey, you're improving. You're getting better. But I need you to, you know, to get even more better.
How does that video review happen? Is it with a coach and the player? Is it the player on themselves? Is it both? How do you do video review?
You know, we have our assistant coaches, you know, that sort of tied to position groups that meet with our players constantly. You know, go over a practice, go over a game, go over a future opponent. We also do it in team settings. If we feel like it's a common theme throughout our team, both in the things that we're doing well and the things that we're not doing as well. You know, so really from all different angles.
When you do those video reviews, are they typically mostly positive, mostly negative, half and half? How do you do that?
I think that, you know, just you show what you show. So, you know, there's going to be some good. I think that you can get a lot out of a person if you show them you believe in them and you show them the things that they're doing well. Everybody loves to be praised. You all love to be praised, you know. I love to be praised. Your kids love to be praised. So if all you're doing is whipping them, then why do they want to come to practice? But I also think you have to be a truth teller and be able to show your guys what they're not doing well and what's holding them back and what's holding us back. And you know, that's what you use film for.
Chris, you want toughness to be the foundation of your program. How much are they going to have to be tough tomorrow night against the Michigan State team that's kind of their MO as well?
I mean, everything about Michigan State oozes toughness. You know, I think, you know, they've been the gold standard, one of the programs in college basketball that's consistently consistent. They're good every year. And, you know, their identity is the same every year. They're hard-nosed. They're going to play together. They're going to play with passion, and there's a toughness about them on both ends of the floor. And you know, we're trying to get to that point.
Do they take it and go as fast as just about anybody? I mean, even on a made basket, they
Yes.
grab it. What do you? I guess you've gotten that across to your players already.
I think you know, telling them ain't teaching them. I mean, they're going to learn tomorrow night, and we're going to try to simulate it as best we can in practice. But you know, God bless Will Rainey and Jacob Redding. They're not Cassius Winston and Josh Langford and you know, Nick Ward running down the center. So they are one of the premier teams in the country when it comes to getting the ball out of the net and up the floor. And that's a huge key to the game, is to make sure that, you know, they're trying to earn their points in the half court, you know, versus getting them in one-on-0 situations.
Langford, of course, is a really good three-point shooter, but doesn't he do a little bit of everything for him? I mean,
Great player. Yeah, he's a great player. He's a phenomenal shooter, but he's not a one-trick pony. They put him in great situations. Coach Izzo runs really good stuff for him. And, you know, again, the mark of a good team is you can't key on one or two guys and feel like if you do the job, you win. They have other good players around them, so it makes that job, you know, equally tough.
Goins doesn't have very good height, but what makes him such a good rebounder?
Probably their practices and what they emphasize. Again, you can tell what a program hangs their hat on. You know, when you know, each and every year, Michigan State is known for their rebounding on both ends of the floor. So I'm sure it's drilled into them, and you know, like all the past power forwards that I remember from Michigan State, they're not going to be guys that just hang around the three-point line and play soft.
Have you faced Andy Steve when you were?
I thought you meant like me one-on-one. I have not.
You probably win that.
Yeah.
You're younger.
Yeah, I am. He prides himself on being a great free throw shooter, so I'd have to keep him off the line.
Higher than referees.
Yeah. No, I've never played against or coached against a Tom Izzo team.
You start 3 guards, but it appears, at least in their starters, they have a little size advantage on you. How do you go about determining which aspect to overplay, as it were?
Well, I think, for us, it starts with gaining an understanding of what each of their players like to do. So our players understand their personnel. When you're in league, it's a little bit easier because you see these guys a little bit more often. But the size we're not going to be able to combat. If the guy's got 2 or 3 inches, he just has 2 or 3 inches. But knowing where he likes to get his shots, where he's best served, which hand he prefers. Keys in terms of if they run a set play, do they give it away because there's a catch at the elbow, there's a dribble out, and those things, without circuit overload to your guys, those are things that hopefully can put your guys in a decent position so that they can understand what's coming.
Can you be as aggressive with a team that has as many ball handlers defensively?
We need to be aggressive. We need to be aggressive, and a lot of times their ball handlers, Tim, are getting freed by their bigs, setting screens on the perimeter, and we have to do a good job to make those ball screens tough to manage. And if we don't, then they're going to get in the lane. They're going to find another good player. So we have to do as good of a job as we can in pick and roll coverage.
Where does Darius stand in the effort to hit more singles and doubles, as you said, versus always trying to make that one run?
He's learning. I mean, he's so much better than he was when we first got here. And again, I think when you look at Darius, you see so much talent that you want him to be, overwhelmingly good. But it's baby steps with him. I think he's always been a guy that sometimes relishes flash over substance, and I'm trying to teach him that substance wins games, that boring wins games, that the little things, when they're executed, win games. And he's come a long, long way in that regard. And so I'm proud of him, but he has a long way to go for us to be consistently good. And we need him to be.
What are your expectations for CC, and what are kind of general game instructions for him on most games? I
thought CC played a whale of a game against Marquette. I think he did a terrific job of being aggressive, but at the same time, not being reckless. He should be a table setter, a guy that can get in the lane. And again, if they're not going to honor him with a second defender, he's got to be able to be respected and score the ball for us. Defensively, I thought he was locked in. He was chasing Marcus Howard. I thought he did a really good job on both ends of the floor. So what you saw out of CC against Marquette is who we need him to be.
With the kind of defensive pressure that Michigan State has, are you looking for your guys to be more patient on offense, or to just kind of try and go and take them by surprise right away? Well,
I don't think they pressure. When I watch them on tape, I think they do a great job of really sloughing off and keeping the lane tight. So we're going to have ball movement, and we're going to have to be able to generate good shots and try to get them to move rather than for their man-to-man to look like a zone because of us being stagnant. And that's something that we've tried to hone in here really all preseason, but it's going to be especially important tomorrow night.
What's your understanding of how much an offensive player can use his offhand? Is that a point of emphasis? Is that anything?
Apparently not.
How much can they use? I mean, are you going to tell your guys to use it?
No. When you push off, they generally call a foul.
Is there anything that you will do going forward to manage or to make sure that you get credit for three-point shots?
Yeah. We're gonna have a manager in the back and watching it live. Unfortunately, like ESPN didn't replay it until it was too late. So we're gonna have to have somebody that can watch. And then as soon as they find out, they can sprint out and tell us before the next time out. But, it's tough. That play didn't win or lose the game. I know everybody says we would have won by 1, but, the game would have been played differently. Having said that, do I wish they would have got it right? Sure. But, I've been coaching, this is my 10th year as a head coach, and that's the only time that, that's happened. So, I'm not going to act like that. That's something that we see, on the regular.
But this is a new development. You're going to have a manager watch. You hadn't done that previously?
I had, but I was at a different place previously.
Anything else, Coach? Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.